If your salary went up, but your life still feels tighter, you are not lazy, you are not bad with money, and you are not imagining it. Because the most dangerous lie in modern finance is not that you do not earn enough. It is that you are being paid in a measuring unit that keeps changing while you work. Your salary looks bigger. Your purchasing power does not always move the same way. And the worst part is this: the system teaches you to celebrate the number while ignoring what that number can actually buy. That is why this video is not really about Bitcoin. It is about a much darker question. What if your paycheck is not telling you how rich you are, but how fast you are falling behind? And once you see that, you will never look at your salary the same way again. This is not a hype video. It is built on real wage data, inflation data, US purchasing power analysis, and Bitcoin's own monetary design. And the truth is more uncomfortable than most people think, because recent US data shows something subtle but brutal. Sometimes your paycheck can go up and still barely move in real terms. That is where the illusion begins. This is the first trap. Most people hear salary and think wealth. But salary is not wealth. Salary is just an income stream quoted in dollars. And dollars are not a stable mirror of your effort. Think about how this feels in real life. You get a raise. Your brain says, I'm moving up. But then rent still hurts. Groceries still hurt. Insurance still hurts. Savings still feels slow. And suddenly that raise does not feel like progress. It feels like survival with better branding. Here is the cold version of that math. A recent US wage update showed nominal hourly earnings rising 3.5% year over year, while consumer prices rose 3.3%. That left real hourly earnings up only 0.3%. So yes, the paycheck got bigger, but the gain that actually mattered was tiny. That is the lie. Not that you got paid, but that the headline number made you feel richer than you really became. Now here is where this gets more interesting. This is not a simplistic, everyone is getting poorer every second argument. That would be lazy. In fact, US Treasury analysis said that by mid-2024, the median American worker could afford the 2019 basket of goods and services, plus about $1,400 more per year. So yes, there have been periods of real improvement, but that does not kill the argument. It strengthens it. Because the deeper problem is not whether wages ever recover. The deeper problem is this: your life is being measured in a unit that policy can expand, dilute, and reshape over time. So even when you catch up, you are still running on a moving treadmill. You are still trying to build a future using a ruler that can stretch. And if the unit itself is unstable, then your salary can tell you two different stories at once. Story 1, I got a raise. Story 2, the measuring stick changed again. That is why people feel the contradiction in their bones. On paper, they are doing better. Emotionally, they still feel like they are chasing something that keeps moving away. This is where most people miss the entire game. Inflation is usually explained through CPI, a basket, a broad average, a national snapshot. And that matters. But your future is not a basket. Your future is personal. Your future is your savings, your optionality, your ability to stop trading time for money, your ability to hold value across years, not just survive the month. So even if a broad inflation basket says you are roughly keeping up, that does not automatically mean your money is doing what you need it to do. Because surviving consumption and preserving purchasing power are not the same thing. Let me make that visual. Imagine your salary as a bucket of water. Every year you pour more into it. Looks good, feels good, but the bucket has tiny holes in the bottom. You do not notice it at first. Because from above, the water level still looks decent. But year after year, the leak keeps working. And the leak is not always dramatic. That is what makes it dangerous. It is quiet. It is respectable. It wears a suit. It arrives inside numbers that look normal. That is why your salary can rise, while your sense of financial control still gets weaker. Now we get to Bitcoin. And this is where people usually split into two camps. One side hears Bitcoin and thinks speculation. The other hears Bitcoin and thinks escape hatch. But before it is either of those things, Bitcoin is something more basic. It is a different measuring stick. Bitcoin was designed so that value can move directly between people without a trusted third party. Its ledger is public, its issuance is predictable, and its supply does not expand forever. The creation of new Bitcoin keeps getting cut in half over time until the total reaches 21 million. That matters more than most people realize, because now the question changes. Instead of asking, how many dollars did I make this year? You start asking, how much of my life energy was stored in something that cannot be printed on command? That is a brutal question, because it exposes the difference between earning and keeping, between getting paid and preserving the value of being paid. In dollar terms, your salary might look stable. In Bitcoin terms, your salary may look very different. And whether people like Bitcoin or not, that comparison forces honesty. It forces you to ask whether your labor is being stored or slowly diluted. This is where I want to be careful. Bitcoin is volatile, violent even. It can drop hard. It can scare people. It can punish weak hands in bad timing. So no, this is not the childish version of the argument. This is not, put your paycheck into Bitcoin and your life is solved. That is not intelligence. That is religion. The stronger argument is more unsettling. Bitcoin may not be the answer to every financial problem, but it is one of the sharpest tools ever created for exposing the weakness of fiat-denominated thinking. It forces a person to confront one very uncomfortable idea. Maybe the problem is not only how much you earn, maybe the problem is what you are counting in. And once that question gets into someone's head, it is hard to go back. Because then every raise feels different. Every savings decision feels different. Every month of work feels different. You stop asking only, did I get paid more? And start asking, did I store more of my life in something harder? Or did I just receive a larger number inside a softer system? That is the psychological shift. And that shift is why Bitcoin hits people so hard. Not because it is just an asset, but because it reveals the weakness of the financial language most people use every day. Here is the part most people do not want to hear. Your employer can raise your salary. Your bank can show you a bigger balance. The government can tell you wages are up in real terms. And still, you can spend 10 more years working inside a system that quietly teaches you to confuse motion with progress. That is the real pain. Not that you got no raise, but that you accepted a bigger number and called it safety. A lot of people are not broke because they earn nothing. They are broke because they never learned the difference between income and stored value. They kept climbing a staircase without noticing the building itself was moving. So when I say your salary is lying to you, I do not mean your paycheck is fake. I mean it may be telling you only the most flattering version of the truth. It tells you what you earned in dollars. It does not automatically tell you what you kept in purchasing power. It does not tell you how much of your labor escaped dilution. It does not tell you whether you are building a future or just temporarily keeping up with a system that keeps rewriting the measuring unit. That is why Bitcoin matters. Not because everyone will use it, not because it is easy, not because it removes all risk, but because it gives people a way to see the game more clearly. And once you see the game clearly, it becomes much harder to be comforted by a paycheck alone. So let me ask you the real question. Would you rather earn more dollars or keep more value? Comment one line, salary matters more, or scarcity matters more. And if you want part 2, I will make the next video on this. Why Bitcoin is not just an investment, but a new way to measure your time.